I like companies that march to the beat of their own drum. They don't care about the competition, they just create products that they want to create and they innovate just because they want to. But what if that beat is an offbeat? Now, Laowa is an interesting lens company. If you ask me what company produces the weirdest lenses in existence, I would say Laowa. They are known for their ultra-wides, macro lenses, probe lenses, the stuff that you never see from traditional lens manufacturers such as Sony, Sigma, or Tamron. And this release, well, it's quite simply strange. It wasn't too long ago that we got the Laowa 10mm F2.8 full-frame autofocus lens, and today they are releasing the 12mm F2.8 autofocus lens, and as far as I know, these are the only two lenses that they have that have autofocus as of today. And the question is, why? So let's talk about it. From a design standpoint, this looks like a 1-to-1 clone of the 10mm. In reality, it's a little longer with less girth. Construction is all metal and glass. It feels well made. Weight is a modest 377 grams, which is 0.83 pounds or so. It has an interesting gray to purple color with the signature blue accents. It's a lens that stands out among the ocean of seemingly boring black lenses out there. Starting at the rear, there is a metal mount, electronics, and a clear rubber gasket for weather sealing. Autofocus manual focus switch, lens specs, and Laowa logo here. No aperture control, but you get a huge manual focus ring with a stylized diagonal cut pattern. It's average smooth with a little metal on metal friction, which is not good, but good resistance at least. All electronic, so it rotates forever in either direction. Around the front is a 50-cent piece sized convex front element, some specs on top, 72mm filter thread, and Laowa logo. It comes with a metal premium feeling rose petal lens hood that I left on for all of my testing. Inside there are 16 elements in 9 groups, a 5-bladed aperture, and an autofocus motor that is probably a stepper motor, but that's just a guess because I don't have any specs in the literature that I received. Now, 12mm on a full-frame camera is a very wide field of view. It's equivalent to a 9mm for APS-C, which doesn't exist in autofocus form at the moment, so you can capture vast landscapes, huge architecture, all with 0D, which is zero distortion, which means you get straight lines-ish. More on that later. You are looking at some sample photos from my Sony a7C, and optically it's a solid lens, but not without some issues like any lens. But pretty good overall. There's not much out there that is a 12mm full-frame prime lens, so I don't have anything to really compare this to, and in reality the strongest competitor to this lens, in my mind at least, is the Laowa 10mm. Again, kind of strange. Sharpness wide open is great in the center of the frame and also great in the corners, but you'll notice there is a lot of vignetting at f2.8, a ton of it. The corners are really dark in nearly every sample photo that I took, which is somewhat expected, I guess. What I didn't expect is the slight barrel distortion. There's a bit of it when you are photographing large flat subjects, and this is with in-camera corrections turned on and shooting JPEGs. And I suppose that's why Laowa advertises this lens as virtually zero distortion. Virtually, that term can mean any number of things. Chromatic aberration is here as well. Here are a few examples of that. You'll see in the corners that if you get a little bit of softness, then out of focus areas have loca or longitudinal chromatic aberration. It's not horrible, but definitely noticeable. Here on the fence is a great example. Purple and green chromatic aberration is very evident. When you zoom out, it's not much of an issue, but it is still there. Minimum focus is impressively close at 14 centimeters, so that's just under 6 inches from the sensor to the subject, meaning you can capture some interesting dramatic shots if you want to. And then I have to talk about the flare, which is pretty distinct, especially if you have strong light hit the front element from the top or the side. It's not ideal, but it could be cinematic for some. As far as autofocus, my copy worked great. There are some reports that some pre-production models had issues, but autofocus on this lens in particular is averagely fast and pretty silent. It doesn't track nearly as well as some other lenses due to its wide field of view, but if you were planning on using it for vlogging, it does a perfect job of maintaining focus on your face. And with active stabilization on, you get a very easy to handle vlogging setup. You don't need to extend your arms fully. There is is a lot of focus breathing, however, so look out for that if you are planning on doing some cinematic focus pulls. Overall, it is a great lens that has excellent optics. Besides the flaring, the chromatic aberration, and the vignetting, everything else optically is pretty strong. It seems much sharper in the corners than the 10mm as well, which is a plus. Pricing on this lens comes in at $699 US, which is $100 less than the 10mm, and I think this is the better lens out of the two. The 10mm is brilliant. It's the widest full-frame autofocus lens, or at least it was back when I reviewed it, but this 12mm is, I think, for most people a more usable and less challenging focal length. But let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. 12mm or 10mm? Is Laowa creating unnecessary competition for itself? Are you just as confused as I am? Is the 12mm the ultimate real estate and vlogging lens? Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for more, and have a nice day. Bye-bye.